Hello and welcome to this overview of the Milestone Planner review features. I'm here on the timeline with a relatively simple project. If I go ahead and drop down the detail level, actually the whole thing fits reasonably neatly on a page. So I'm going to take you through the review features, which are really designed to help you understand where the project's at and what has changed over the last time period. So I'm going to go ahead and click on the review tab over here. We start off in the summary report, which just gives me a snapshot of where the project is at. So I've got a status wheel that shows me what percentage of the milestones are complete and which is in each of the different status levels. So red, amber, green, orange there. It tells me the project start and end date, and if I want to change those, I can do that up here and select the start and end date to match what I've planned. Then it also shows me the date of the first and last milestone. So the milestones may differ slightly depending on how much of the project I've planned and where that relates to when the project activity starts. It also tells me the date of the next due milestone, so I can see if I'm ahead or behind. And that's also shown in the progress bar here. So I can see that completed number of milestones is 9, but actually the expected was 11. And that's also shown in the progress bar, where blue, which as it always does in Milestone Planner, represents completed work. We can see the blue line is just slightly behind the circle that represents today. So there's a little bit of a gap to close, but that looks achievable. If I scroll down, it also shows me what percentage of the milestones are completed, what percentage is due, and what percentage is still to complete, and then how that's spread between the different status in my project. So what's on track, minor issue, major issue, or critical, and what's there mirrors the legend as well. So if I scroll down to the bottom of the page where you find the legend as normal, if I change that legend, then here we go, put that as very critical. Then that's also reflected in the status here as well. So we can see that my red is now labeled very critical. So you've got control over that for each plan, and we represent that in the review pages and the reports as well. I've also got the same information for actions, so how many actions total and what's the balance of those between what's done, what's in progress, and what is unstarted. So that's the review page. I can download that as a PDF if I'd like to as well. Then we have the status report, which is really designed for your weekly reports or check-ins, or being able to forward to other members of the business so they can understand where the project is at. So by default, it's focused on today. I can click and change that date if I want to. And by default, it's a 7-day range, so a weekly day range. But again, if my reporting interval is different, something like 30 days, I can just click and I can change that. So what it's showing me is, first of all, the change summary over the last 7 days. So warning about anything that's overdue. And so I can see that I've got one overdue milestone there. And again, it gives me the current status and what's changed in the time period as well, and who made those changes. It also shows me what milestones were due for completion in the last 7 days. So what was it that I planned to actually happen? And then it shows me what happened with those. So what changes happened. So I can see here that it changed from on track to minor issue. And I can see that it was assigned to Jess there as well. It also shows me what's due in the next 7 days. So what was due, what's due in the next 7 days, and again similarly gives me a change summary and the current status for each of those, and then just summarizes any other changes that happen in the project, just so that I know what else has gone off. So we've seen quite a bit of activity in this particular project. It gives me that same information for actions as well. So are there any overdue actions? It will show those. What actions were due for completion in the last 7 days? So in this case, they were none. And what's due in the next 7 days? And again, in this case, there aren't any. And then it'll give me a change summary. So it'll show me any other actions that have been created, and also tell me who has been active in the project, who's logged into Milestone Planner, and who's made any updates there. This status report can also be focused by user. So if I wanted to look particularly at my status report for me, for my 3 milestones, then we'll see here that I've got no overdue milestones. Excellent. And that within the last 7 days, I actually had 2 milestones that were due. I've got 1 more milestone during the next 7 days. So we can very quickly use the people bar to focus down and get that information for any one on the project. So that's the status report. The activity report is really a fast way to catch up. So let's say I've been away for a week and I come back and I want to know what's happened in the plan, what's changed, then that's what this will give me. By default, it pick 7 days, so this is going back to February 16th, I can change that to any date that I want and go back as far in the project as I want. So it's kind of like an infinite baseline. Within that activity, so if I pick the 5th of January here, I'll get a lot of changes. So it shows me for each milestone what changes have happened during that time and who made those changes. So I can go back and see exactly what's changed and who made those changes and when they happened as well. And again, just as before, I can focus down on a specific user, so I can see any updates to things owned by me or any updates that I've made. So I can see that there's 3 updates here since the 5th of January on my 3 key milestones. I can see who made those, so it's me who made those changes for the most part. So it's a very quick way to catch up with what's happened in the project. The last page in the review section is the progress graph. Now it takes just a little bit of thinking to get your head around. Now again, this will focus by user, so I can look at the progress for myself or any team member or for the whole team. And what it's essentially showing me is for each date in the project, starting on the left on the 1st of October, going through to July the 2nd there, what was the status or what is the predicted status on that day. So on the right hand side, we'll always see it all blue because by the end of the project, all of the milestones should be marked completed in blue. And on the left hand side, there's going to be nothing because that's before the project started. And so on each date, it's showing me what percentage effectively are in the different statuses. So what's red, green, amber, and what's completed. And you usually see this line up and to the right because obviously milestones are gradually going to be marked complete through the project. And so here I can see that the prediction is that the last milestone here is going to be completed on the 30th of March. At that point, the project is all blue. It's 100% complete. And I can see that there's a fairly neat line. There's a bit of a cliff on today, so there's some grey there, which represents missed or overdue milestones. So there's that bit of catching up in the project that we saw in the summary report. But I can also travel back through time, so I can actually go back to the beginning of the project here in January, and I can actually see in January there's nothing planned. Okay, so on the 10th of January, this is what the plan looked like. There was nothing in it. And then I can see by the 15th of January, there's a few milestones that have been added there, and actually they're already missed. They're already in blue, so that needs updating. And then as I come through to the 25th of January, obviously the plan's been fleshed out. We can see a big jump in the number of milestones, and we can see the predicted work rate there going across to all being blue. And then obviously some work was removed, so some of those milestones were deemed unnecessary and were removed from the plan. And again, as I go forwards, I can see them flipping across to red all the way through up to today, where I start to see a jump up. So some additional milestones have been added, and that curve has changed slightly. So you'll get the hang of that quite quickly, but it helps you understand how that project's really changing over time, and are you on track to complete it before the end of the project, and how has it changed in terms of what's critical or what's on track during the course of the period. So again, activity report, status report, and summary report, all designed to help you understand what's happening in the project and the plan, and find that information and drill down to individual team members. And for most of these, you can download them as PDFs as well, so you can include them in your report, documents or presentations, or email them on to other members of the organisation who might not be on Milestone Planner. So send us your feedback. If you've got particular custom reporting requirements, do let us know about those as well. We've got some ways to do that. We'd love to hear from you. In the meantime, be productive and enjoy